Just the nuts and bolts of the 7 critical skills of CRM, or crew resource management, is so beneficial in aviation. Now the FAA mandates that we pilots, every FAA-sanctioned airline pilot, every Air Force pilot, and every Navy fighter pilot receive this training just on these 7 skills at least once a year. Why? Because it helps us reduce human error, and it's proven to work. So FAA is bought in, and like Mr. Mosier said, this is not something to add another matrix, another checklist for you to use. This is a way for you to go about your job starting tomorrow and get better every single day. So we're going to teach you skills that fighter pilots use to perform at peak levels of human performance every day, on every flight, and on every maneuver. We'll go behind closed doors right now to understand this skill set that only the world's best aviators know. When I talk about a culture of compliance, I'm not talking about OSHA or any regulatory compliance stuff. I want to address the culture at Clark, the Clark way of doing business. In the F-18 community, the culture of compliance is that for fighter pilots, it's never okay to take shortcuts. Period. That's easy enough to enforce. You never do it. It's never okay in the fighter pilot community to let ego interfere with your job. I'm going to address some skills that we use because people think fighter pilots have the biggest egos in the world, right? Certainly in the pub on Friday night we do. But we have ways to combat ego problems, because egos creep into every line of work that there is. Certainly on a construction site, are there any egos out there? I know there are. In the fighter pilot community, it's never okay to become complacent. And we have skills and tools and techniques that I'm going to teach you today to combat complacency. The Clark way of doing business. Live up to the excellence and get better every day. When I talk about the excellence, the culture of excellence, the Clark way, in the F-18 community, when I execute a maneuver in training or in combat, I might complete that maneuver 4 or 5 times out of 100 the way I want to do it. And people will stop me there and say, Jack, so you fail 95% of the time? And I don't. We're very good at what we do. We're the best in the world at flying fighter planes. But 4 or 5 times out of 100, I do the job the way I want to do it. So I do it well enough to get the job done, but we set the bar so high that there's always that much room to get better. Had a good flight today. Tomorrow I can get better. It's like the perfect round of golf, right? Played great today. You could play even better tomorrow. So think about that, what we could incorporate on the job site with it, Clark and all his subs, that says, if somebody says this word, I don't care if the word is purple, that everybody freezes because something bad's about to happen. I have time to roll up on my wing, and directly beneath me, I see 2 pilots eject out of an F-14. They each get about a swing and a half in the chute before they hit the water, and then this huge explosion when the jet hits the water. And I'm instantly sick to my stomach. I just watched my first plane crash. I'm supposed to be focused now on flying that 14-inch window, and I'm scared to death. I just saw this. The Carrier Air Wing Commander, or CAG, as he's called, is sitting in a big fuzzy chair up in that tower, starts losing his mind, freaking out about getting his aviators out of that cold water. We fly all the time with our flight operations with a SH-60 Seahawk helicopter for search and rescue, all the time airborne, just off the starboard side of the ship. I still remember the call sign of that helicopter was Trident 611. CAG is yelling, Trident 611, fly heading 270 and get my boys out of the water. Well, I'm freaked out already. A successful ejection, they both got out okay. But what a wonderful job in easily the most stressful 30 seconds of their life. And how calm and cool, collected were they, just going through a checklist. You fly the plane. Hey, by the way, prepare to abandon aircraft while we're doing this in case our procedure doesn't work. But they're just following the rule-based decisions there because they practiced it, they've simulated it, and now they're doing it in real life. What a difference between them in the most stressful moment of their lives, clear, concise, pre-brief terminology. Compare that to the F-18 guy who's just, the cockpit was too hot. He wasn't communicating very well, was he?